Good morning, everyone. My name is Osas Opasogie, a member of I work with ARM, and I'll be sharing with you about retirement planning. I just hope that at the end of this short presentation, there will be a mind shift on our planning towards retirement and what retirement basically is all about. So I'll be sharing my slides, and I just hope we'll all follow in the course of this presentation. Just a minute, please. I hope everyone can see the slide. Okay, basically, we are talking about retirement. Before I go on, retirement is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because retirement will definitely come. We will not remain young forever. We will not keep working forever, even if it's a business that you run yourself, a business you own. You will keep to get to a stage where you will have to retire. And even though a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm retired, but I'm not tired," age sets in, and you just have to really, really retire. So basically, we'll be talking more about that today, on not just how to retire, but how to retire and you retire the way you desire to retire. Before I go into that, I'll just quickly maybe just talk about a few textbook definitions of retirement. The period of one's life after retirement from work. Then some say that it refers to the time of one's life when he or she chooses to permanently leave the workforce. Before I go to the planning proper, I'll briefly just talk about where I work. I work with the ARM. It's an acronym for Asset and Resource Management. ARM's core business was management of assets for individuals and institutions. We came into existence in 1994. Then the business evolved over the years. There was a need for expansion and diversification. So we went into other areas like the real estate, agriculture, hospitality. ARM is a holding group of companies with businesses cutting across. We have the traditional asset management, the fund business, and the real estate and hospitality. For those of us that are familiar with the island, I'm sure we might have heard about the Lakeway Golf Course, Beachwood Estate, Farah Park Estate, just to mention a few. These are all along the Lekki axis. Then how to achieve your financial goal. A lot of people think that if you don't have a fat salary, you are not from a wealthy home, you won't be able to really achieve that dream, that retirement dream of yours. But that is not the case. With the help of a good financial plan, your retirement dreams or retirement goals will definitely come to pass. So it's just you having a good retirement plan set in place. Then we'll talk about, a good financial plan set in place. So we'll talk about financial planning. This is a process where you identify what your life goals are, or, well, in this case, what your retirement goals are. Then you take into cognizance what resources are available for you, and then your investment options. You look at areas where you invest in, then the opportunities that are before you, then proper money management. This is what retirement plan is, financial plan, is basically about. So I'll just be interchanging using financial planning and retirement plan. Although retirement plan is just an aspect of financial plan, but this whole process is tied to financial planning. So financial planning is not really all about money, but the fact that you are able to meet up with the totality of what you said you are going to do, what you said you want to achieve as a life goal, which also, yes, of course, includes money. This is what we look at as, your financial planning. Then we also talk about health. Good health is also an aspect of a retirement plan. By the time you get old, we don't want to get old and now become a liability for our children, for our spouses, or for those all around us. So good health is also something that we should also take into consideration when you're talking about retirement plan. Planning for good health should be what you should also look at. So it starts from now. You begin to look at the kind of things you do, the kind of things you eat, the kind of things you allow to come into your body, because by the time we get old and you are not able to work again, we don't want to become liabilities to those around us or those that are taking care of us. So to do this, to have this retirement plan of your dream, we'll have some certain goals that needs to be set. So first we'll look at, you have to have a specific goal. You have to set your goal. You know what you want to do. You know what you want to, how you want your retirement to be. So you visualize these goals and you set it, and it's specific. So we'll talk about specific goals. Once you have already aligned your goal, this is where you are going to, this is how you want your retirement to be. Then the next step is to identify a time to it. So you don't just say, oh, I want to do this. This is what I have to do towards retirement. This is my plan towards retirement. And you just go around planning like that. So we have three ways which we can do that. We have the short-term goal, there's a medium-term goal, and there's a long-term goal. So you set your goal, you know what your goal is. Then you identify time to this goal. Then after that, the next thing is priority. So we have more than one goal. We have goals in our various aspects, in different things that we want to do. But here we are looking at retirement. So I already know what I plan to do. I already have a time frame for it. Say, for example, I want to become a human resource consultant. And I know to do that, I need to be chartered. And I've looked at it to say, okay, to become a chartered maybe personnel manager, I have to run a course that will take me 2 years. I feel that, okay, in the next 5 years, I want to become a consultant, a human resource consultant, and I need to be chartered. So I already know that, okay, this is what I need to do. Say in the next 1 year, I have to start that course, run through the process of doing that course, so I become chartered and have that access to be able to become a human resource consultant. So I look at that and I set out all the different goals that I want to. I look at the time frame for each of these goals. That's where my priority comes in. So in terms of priority, you set your priorities right. You look at which is more important. Apart from picking what particular goal, you will look at the time frame for it. This is very important because by the time you do this, you will find out that you are not starting maybe a project of 5 years in the next 1 month, because you've looked at it, you've prioritized to say, okay, this is the first step I need to take. This is what I need to do. Then another important step we need to also look at is, another important step we need to also look at, I'm having a little bit of issue. I'm changing my slide, sorry. Okay, so another important aspect we need to also look at is how to analyze your current financial situation. It is very, very important that you analyze. Before you plan, you need to always analyze. You need to sit down, look at what you intend to do, and look at the amount, the fund that is needed for it. So to be able to do this, you look at your financial situation. Your cash flow statement is very important. Right? Your cash flow statement talks about what comes into your account, what you earn, what you get, how your money comes in and how it goes out. Your income and your expenditure is basically what your cash flow is all about. What comes in, is it, then you also consider how regularly does it come in. Are you doing a kind of business? Is this a structured business? Is it a kind of business where you have to be paid daily? Is it a monthly kind of business? Then you also look at, how do I spend? Do I spend daily? Do I spend monthly? Do I buy in bulks? Those are the things you look at. So when you talk about your cash flow, you look at what comes in, at what particular time it comes in, and how you spend. Then next thing is to look at your net worth. Your net worth shows the totality of what you have. So you have your assets. These are properties, These are, we say, money in the bank, things that you own that are for you. Then we also have liabilities, because some of us, we run on loans. We have a lot of things that is pending here and there. We take that into consideration. So to know what your net worth is, you have to take out your liabilities from your asset. Whatever you have left is your net worth. That is what you have. And it's advisable that at every point in time, your net worth should be on the positive, because if you have a negative net worth, it means you cannot really do anything. It means you are owing. You can't venture into any business. So first, you look at what your net worth says. Is it on a positive? Is it on a negative? If it's on a negative, yes, you try to do things to cover for it. Is it that you take up more businesses, more jobs? Is it that you take up more other streams of income where money will definitely come in to balance your net worth? So, but if it's on a positive, that is very fine. If you have a positive net worth, then you'll be able to sit down and think, okay, I want to venture into this business. I want to do this project. I want to invest in this project. I want to invest in this fund. But when your net worth is not on the positive, it will be very difficult for you to plan. Then another important thing is budgeting. So budgeting, this is you clearly stating your income. You are stating your expenses over a specific period of time. So you know what comes in, you know what goes out. So your net worth is on the positive. Then you look at your cash flow too. How do I get this money? What comes in? What do I spend? You budget on it. And that way you are able to say, okay, I'm budgeting for the period of 1 year. This is what I know will come in. This is what I know I will spend, because you already have an idea of how you spend. What this also does for you, it helps you not to spend on impulse, because most times money just come in, we just buy whatever we want to buy. People bring things, you buy, you see that something is going on somewhere, you just start spending money. But by the time you have a budget, it helps you to know when to spend, how to spend. When you plan to spend, you find out that you don't just spend the way you used to spend, you'll be able to save. So by the time you do this for a period of time, you've looked at it to say, yes, 2022, this is my budget. You have a set budget. This is what I'm going to, this is the area where I'm expecting money from. If you're in a structured organization, fine. If it's unstructured, say for example, you're an entrepreneur, self-employed, you also know this is where money comes from. This is how my business is. Some people structure salary for themselves. Some decide to just have a particular percentage of what they decide to spend, so they don't just dip into their capital. And at the end of the day, you see businesses shutting down. So you do that, you budget. Through the help of your budget, you are able to know what excesses you have. And with these excesses, then you'll be able to decide, okay, if I have this at the end of 2022, say for example, I can save XYZ amount, which means this can also help me to start up something that I know at the end of the day, I'm going to fall back on it. It's going to help me to progress. It's going to help me maybe to get more, an increment in my salary. It's going to help me to even probably change job or do something better, or become an entrepreneur. It can be that I'm learning a trade. So it depends. But if I don't put all these things, don't budget it, I won't be able to know what comes in. I won't know what I spend. A lot of people earn much, but you just find out that at the end of every month, you are left with nothing. You can't save. You cannot really do what those things that you have set aside to do. So it is very important that we plan, because by the time you plan and have a good budget, it will help you to execute whatever you have in mind to do. Then we have done all this, you have acquired this, you have done a lot of things that you, your plans, you already know what you want to do, you've set out the time frame for it, you prioritize on this is the first, this is what I want to start with, you already plan on how you intend to raise funds, you've done your budgeting and you know that, okay, this is what and what I intend to do at my retirement, or these are my plans towards retirement. So we'll have some plans you need to implement in ensuring that that retirement you are looking up to, that life goal that you are thinking of achieving, if you go with these 5 plans, it will be very successful. So I'll just start with the protection. So you're talking about protection. After all you have done, if what you have saved over time Or say, for example, look at those in the structured employment that you are not protected, there's no HMO for you, there's no group life cover. It becomes very difficult, to get what you want to achieve what you want to achieve by the end of the day. So we look at protection. For protection, do you have a life cover? Does your company have a life cover for you? I know that for most organizations that they have retirement savings accounts for their employees, they also have a life cover, a group life cover that takes care of, I think, about 3 times their total emolument for the year. That is paid to the beneficiary should anything happen. But then for those that work in organizations where, say for example, an organization where they work with chemicals, is there a disability insurance cover there? If the organization doesn't have it, it's something you can pick up on your own. For those that work in employment that is not structured, say for example, you run your own business, do you have a fire cover? Anything can happen. Should there be a fire incident, what happens? We go back to ground zero. And we know these days that most of these businesses we run, we are trying to just, make ends meet. Most of these goods, we get them on credit. So what happens? You start all over again. These insurance companies are everywhere, and you can easily get these covers at a very, very reduced price. So it's something that we know we in Nigeria, we usually do not believe much in insurance, but it's good that a lot of people are beginning to take insurance seriously. A lot of people are beginning to, I'm sure if a survey is done, the insurance company will also agree with me that a lot of people are beginning to believe in insurance, a lot of people are beginning to see the importance of insurance. So are you protected? It's something you need to look at. Then the next thing is an emergency fund. The emergency fund is 6 months expenses saved, not kept for investment, not kept for business or to set up any business you have in the future. Emergency fund is your 6 months expenses. So what I mean by that is, for example, if in a month I spend, my expenses is let's say 100,000. So I have to have 600,000 kept somewhere. We usually advise that you put it in like a money market where your cash will be liquid. If you need it, within 24 hours, you are able to reach it. So it's something you use in cases of emergency. So we just all experienced the COVID-19, and then not everybody lost their jobs. Some people were still employed, but they were not getting salary, they were not getting paid. But in terms of, for those that already knew about this and had emergency fund in place, that's what was able to carry them for at least 6 months before they could decide on what else to do. So in cases like that, even your children, they might not even know that mommy is not working, daddy is not working, because everything is still going as it used to be, because you have done this, you have an emergency fund that you have kept somewhere. This is very, very important. It doesn't disrupt your plans towards your end goal. Then investment planning. Investment is something we also need to look at. We don't just jump into any kind of investment. You need to consider yourself, you as a person. What kind of a person am I? What kind of risk am I able to take? You look at your risk appetite. Do I really know how to take this much risk? So you don't do things, you don't go into investment because, oh, people are investing. People invest in maybe real estate and I decide to jump into it. Do I have a heart to take that kind of risk should anything happen? So those are the things you look at. You look at your risk appetite before you are able to decide on what kind of investment to put my money into. Then we look at the retirements and retirement planning proper. Retirement planning, there are things you need to ask yourself. There are things you need to understand about retirement. This is planning towards your retirement. How do I want to retire? When I retire, what will I be doing during retirement? What will fund my lifestyle? I already have the kind of lifestyle I'm living now. So the fact that I stopped working doesn't mean my lifestyle should, the standard of my lifestyle should drop. So these are the things we look at. I want to still have this same standard of living, this kind of lifestyle I'm living now. I begin to plan towards it now. I think about that. What will fund my lifestyle? These are the things that make us to begin to think about, okay, what kind of investment do I dive into? What do I do now that I'm very strong? I can really work, that I need to start saving. I look at the way I spend. Then again, I look at, okay, what we put food on my table? It's also something that you think about by the time I retire. What do I really want to do? Or am I having my children as my retirement plan? A lot of people have their children as their retirement plan. Maybe in the olden days, it used to really work. But if you are still in that school of thought that you say, oh, I've trained my children, yes, it's good, train them, give them the best of education, give them the best of everything they want. You and I know that these days of everybody traveling and all, a lot of kids have traveled to Canada, to the UK, they don't even call, So if you have your kids as your retirement plan, I don't know what that is. I will advise that you start really planning for yourself now that you have the opportunity to be able to plan. Then I will also say this, most of us here are working. This is the time you have to start engaging your pension fund administrator. A lot of us just check our statements, know that money is going into somewhere from my employer. This is the time you begin to ask them questions, ask for your statement, tell them to do an analysis for you. Okay, if you decide to retire in the next 10 years at this age and all that, like us in the ARM, we also offer service to even people that do not have a pension account with us. We look at it, we look at your age, we look at when you intend to retire, what you are currently remitting as your pension. So there is a projection for what you will get at retirement. This is what you'll be retiring with. This is what you'll be getting as your monthly pension. Look at those things. Then by the time you look at it and you find out that, oh, in the next 10 years I plan to retire, is this what my retirement is going to be? Is this what I've saved over time is going to give me from the projection that has been done? Then you begin to have a think. Do I have to start doing an additional voluntary contribution? You look at that. Do I have to do that? Then if they do the calculation for you and the projection is fine, that's okay. You can continue with that. But if it's not, it gives you that opportunity to be able to begin to save more, to do for other things that you need to do towards retirement. Then estate planning. Estate planning, this is basically how you intend to transfer your accumulated assets, all that you have worked for, everything you have done, how you intend to transfer it to your loved ones, to your beneficiaries. So we have different estate planning vehicles. We have the will, we have the trust, and then we have the gift deeds. You can decide to do any of this to be able to hand these things over conveniently to your estate, just in case of anything. Because of time, I will be stopping here. I just hope that I've been able to maybe give you a mind shift on what your belief is about retirement plan, or what saving towards retirement basically is all about. So I would like to end by saying that there's a Chinese adage that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. It is never too late to start saving for retirement. It is never too late. So if you've not started doing that, I will advise that you start doing that now. Thank you very much. Thank you.